All right, all right, all right. What's going on, folks? Yours truly here, Papa Goat. If you see my page, you already know who have as a guest today, all the way from Arizona. I can't wait to have a conversation with him. And today, you see, I'm kind of standing up. I had a long day today, sitting down, driving. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stand up today. So as always, the show will start right after this. Yep, here we are, here we are, here we are. Now, if you coming in for the first time, we actually here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. where I bring different people from different background to actually ask them what's going on, whether it's businessman or professional career. So today we have the honor and privilege to have Mr. Montina, Officer Montina. Now, me and him, we actually went back, we went to high school together. So this guy is doing great stuff, working for Homeland Security. And today we have the opportunity to bring a man. So let me go ahead and show you his face. But anyway, Cedric, it's a pleasure to have you today. I know you're a very busy person, and I know we spoke about a month ago. I had to book you, so today here you are, Cedric. How you feeling, man? How's everything?
I'm good. How you doing, James?
I am blessed, and I'm doing better than I deserve, man. So, I just want you to actually, tell us your story. Not even your story, man. Just tell us a little bit about your background, so everybody who's watching today can actually know who you are.
So I am Cedric Montina. I grew up in Haiti. Grew up in Haiti, and I came to the state. I think I was 12 years old, so 2002,
Mhm.
and then I went what from Port-au-Prince straight to Orlando, and went to Westridge. Actually, we met in Westridge, not
Oh
Oak
yeah.
Ridge.
So
So
all the way since
Westridge,
middle school that I know this guy.
heck yeah, Point Vista days.
That's what's up,
Yeah,
man.
so middle school, high school, right? And then went to college. Actually, I went to Valencia for 2 years, and then from there I went to UCF, majored in criminal justice and Homeland Security investigation.
Great.
And here I am now. I did correction for a little bit. Did 2 years. Worked with psych inmates. I was interested, and I was heading back to the police. Actually, to the Orlando PD. Like that's what I wanted. That's where I wanted to be. Like that was the ultimate dream to work for Orlando Police Department. But I don't know. Just custom came in, and I thought about it, and I was like, I'm going a federal route instead. So here I
Okay.
am.
Awesome, man. And you currently stationed in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, right?
Nogales, Arizona. That's like
Dallas.
deep south of Arizona. So it's
Okay.
literally near the border of Mexico.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, man, it's such a pleasure to speak with you because outside of criminal justice, I remember when I was in high school. I know you probably remember. I don't know if you had Miss McFerrin. Remember Miss McFerrin? Maybe not. She
yeah,
taught law. Yeah,
law.
there you go. She taught
Yeah.
law. And at one
Yep.
point, bro, to tell you the truth, I wanted
Yep.
to be part of the criminal justice culture where we had.
Yep.
She had private investigators come into the class, and
I remember
oh my God, it's such a cool
one.
feel. At one point, I thought I was going to be doing that for a career. But anyway, that's pretty cool. So,
It took me a while to get there. I switched my major like 3 times. Like if in college, if you could stay back, it would be this guy here because everybody graduates in 4 years. But I kept switching the major, and then, it took me five. I think because again, like I kept switching my majors, but I knew though deep down, law enforcement is that's just my
was the way
passion.
you wanted to
It's
go.
what I wanted to do. So
Well, that's
yeah,
pretty good, man.
and the
Because
feds too. I've always wanted to work for the
feds.
feds.
And like I said, that's pretty good
Yeah,
simply because for somebody to be working for Homeland Security, I mean that there have to be some massive effort put in into this. And if you're watching this right now, you're watching it live. Just know that he's all doing Arizona, and I think Arizona is one of the state that has the worst internet connection. So Spectrum, if you're listening to me, make
Century
sure,
Link.
or Century Link, if you're listening
All
to me,
right,
go somewhere in Arizona. They need your help over there. But Seti,
stop. Go ahead.
Seti, we'll pray for you, man. But anyway, as you were going through, middle school, high school, I know you changed your major quite a few times, and this is pretty common in college students. But why criminal justice? Like, why criminal justice, would you say?
Who? You know what? This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm gonna blame watching Bad Boys and Will Smith. So Bad Boys and CSI Miami. So that's who I'm gonna blame. And then I think around '07, '08, they starting they they had shows on A&E, but basically it was documentary on what federal agents like. They had documentary series on Customs and Border Protection, and it was like a 45-minute show. So then all of a sudden I started watching that, and then yeah. So I blame the media. I blame TV for law enforcement because I remember watching Will Smith. I was like, oh man, I want to be just like that guy, right? Then it went from I forgot his name from CSI Miami, and I just thought it was cool, not knowing what you're getting yourself into, because we all sometimes assume what we see on TV is reality, and it's a lot of fiction
It's a
that
lot of
goes
fiction
on,
on
and
TV.
yeah, it's completely different.
the,
So yeah,
the real life world. I mean, it's always like that. You know what's funny? Last week, for those of you who actually watched the interview last week, I had the privilege to sit with lawyer Benjamin Garcia, and we actually went to school to Oak Ridge as well. And and I'm glad I'm bringing this
yeah,
show
I
up.
remember
That's
that.
just to show people that there is good stuff that come from Oak Ridge High School. Okay, so yeah, we have all this
Heck yeah,
reputation. We have this reputation like Oak
home on the
Ridge High School is
pioneers,
this
baby.
pioneer. Let me tell you, man, especially class of '08.
Yes.
But if you graduate
Oh, eight.
'07, '06,
Oh,
we
eight.
still love you too. But '08, I feel like
Remember?
'08 is really
Oh,
the
eight.
generation that's like taking over, for Oak Ridge.
Yep.
But if
Yep.
you're watching this, like if somebody watching this right now, they say, hey, no, man, listen, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I was class of '07, I was class of '09, class of 10. It's not just '08. But until you come out and say it, I feel like I'm still
Yeah.
number one. Class of '08 is still number one. So if you're a pioneer out there, listen, we're just here to compete, to bring the good name to Oak Ridge High School. So what I was gonna say, Seti, is when I was speaking with Mr. Garcia, he told
Hmm.
me the same thing. I said, so why? Why? How did you end up to be a lawyer? He told me the same thing. I was watching a TV show. He's all about a TV show. So it's funny you mentioned
Yeah.
CSI Miami. So that's just to show you, if you're watching this right now, you have kids, they're young, whatever they're watching, they may likely will become, because that's what they've been influenced by. Now, I'm not saying this is a guarantee, but there's a good chance whatever they've been exposed to, they're going to do. So be careful what your kids watching out there, man. There's a lot of stuff that's on TV. It's like, why is this on TV anyway? And don't be surprised if your child become, whatever they've been watching. But
And law enforcement too, in general, it's always good for drama,
mhm,
TV series. Like till this day, there's always some cop or lawyer, type of show on TV. And even if you want to be like, oh, I'm sick and tired of watching, you still get intrigued. Like
it's
it's just one of those things. It's kind of weird, but
well, it's not that weird because you end up making a beautiful career out of it, just because of that. So, I mean, talk to us, man, because the whole thing is, one of the thing of main thing I want to do with this show is, somebody may be watching this tomorrow or a week from now or 20 years from now, because this is gonna be on the internet forever, as long as we have the internet. So tell us what the process was like when it comes to the education, the school, before you make it to where you are working for, Homeland Security.
so the cool thing with law enforcement, or at least in my department, they tend to hire people with many different backgrounds, So it's not just the kids that went to school for majored in criminal justice. Like, if anything, I'm a big advocate on not majoring in criminal justice. It's a waste of major. Like, you're better off going and majoring in accounting, business administration or economics, because that's what I've noticed, that we tend to hire people with many different backgrounds, whether it's military, college education, um, mechanics. You'd be surprised.
Hmm.
Mechanics, they hire, yeah. Well, at least for what we do in the southern border,
Mm-hmm.
it's required. It's not required, but it's good to kind of have that kind of foundation because we tear a lot of cars. So a lot of narcotics that come through cars, and when you have the knowledge and background, you can kind of figure
mm.
out what's going on here with this vehicle. Something's not right, and then you kind of know what to do. Because the same way we went to the academy and got the background and knowledge on what our job title or what we're supposed to enforce, back
Mm-hmm.
at the port, is the same way too over there, where like say a cartel, they're smart too, and they've been doing that way, way, way longer than we have. So they have their tricks and ways they go about doing things. But yeah, I've seen like teachers, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
because teachers tend to be able to communicate better with the traveling public, because technically, in a way, we are customer service too. When you're dealing with people, it's customer service.
Mm-hmm.
So not everybody, is able to have a conversation with another. Some people are very shy, others are not. So the ones who have a background in education, they tend to become very good officers too. So, or even just general public service type of experience. Like, I tell people all the time, working at SeaWorld was by far the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mm. And what
Not
would you
even
say?
going to school. I'll say correction too, because correction kind of humble you up,
Mm-hmm.
and you allow to talk to people, even though, like, basically you're not so quick to judge. You know what I mean? Because you're in there for 12 hours with an individual who's in the system for whatever, right? But at the end of the day, we're in there for 12 hours. So eventually, we got to talk to each other, right? So I'll say SeaWorld, yeah, SeaWorld and correction. And it was big because, SeaWorld, we have the four corners, right? So we have people from four different counties and totally different, background and lifestyle. And then now we're all at one in one little restaurant working together. And we got to get along. And then come to find out, oh, we're actually not that, you know, far different from one another. And it's the same thing coming down to the southern border. And
mm.
so I'll say customer service is big, but like I said, we hire people from many different
Different
backgrounds.
background.
A lot of military too. Yeah, military too. A lot.
Okay, now you mentioned SeaWorld. Now, to some of you who's like, what's SeaWorld? I'm pretty sure everybody knows SeaWorld is. Cedric and I both have a background in SeaWorld, and maybe hopefully somebody at SeaWorld see this that's
Right?
watching it. And listen, SeaWorld, I can vouch for what Cedric says, especially when you start getting into management. You get to learn
Yes.
how to deal with people. It's really a good company. I can vouch this is one of the very best thing that happened to me because they taught me leadership. That's where I
Yep.
actually get an introduction to leadership, and I was part of management. So because of what we exposed to, we have people coming from all over the place because it's a theme park, but plus the employees that we work with, people coming from Orange County, Polk County, Osceola County. So it's like you have all these people from different backgrounds, so you learn how to deal with them. And I know you
Yep.
was in management as well, Seti, so I know exactly where you're coming from. But yeah, thanks for sharing that because people don't understand. Some people don't understand. A lot of time you're going through, you may have a job right now, and you're going through some phase and people are getting on your nerves and people saying this and you're trying to move up. It's so difficult. You just have to learn people skills and then you can move up. That's why sometimes you see somebody come in and you was fighting for a position for so long, and then the person just come in and boom, just pass you. Sometimes it's not politics. Sometimes the person know have more people skills than you are. So at the end of the
Exactly.
day, even if you're running a business or you actually in any position, at the end of the day, I truly believe what you said is correct. Customer service is one of the priorities.
Yes, people
Mm-hmm.
skills, especially right now when we live in a world where it's a little more sensitive, I would say. So
Mm-hmm.
you really have to be careful what you say toward others because the tone, even though for you it doesn't come across like anything, but to this person it's, oh my god, it's big. So you kind of like, people skills very important. You have to know and understand how to communicate with one another, and especially where we at. So
That's true. That is true. And I don't know what I was, how my eyes end up in something like that. And I think I comment on there too. And if this person who wrote this, if it's you, comment on this video. But I was a little bit, I can't say upset because nobody actually control my emotion except for me. But I was scrolling down Facebook one day and I saw somebody post, like a young person post, who the heck the older generation think they are that we have to show them respect. And I saw this, and that's just to piggyback on what you said, people skills.
yeah,
I saw this, and I'm like, wow. So I know I'm a millennial. We are millennial. So I'm pretty sure the person who wrote this was probably like the generation coming right after us. That's just to show you the separation when it comes to that aspect and learning people skills. Because one of the things I've been taught when I was growing up is to respect your elders. I respect everybody, but especially those who are older than me. But if that young man or the young woman, I don't want to say it, but who said that, that's just to show you, I guess this person don't care really much about people skills. And to me, to make it in the workplace or whether you're running a business or get a professional career, people skills and of course respect is always gonna be number one, at
it
least one
goes
of
a
the number
long
ones.
way.
A long,
It goes
long
a
way.
long
So, thank you for elaborating on that. Now, one of the things I want to ask you is, now I know being in Homeland Security. And by the way, if you are enjoying this, make sure you like, make sure you share this while you're watching it, because this is the type of conversation we want our next generation to be exposed to. Because we have a professional like Officer Montina coming here. If you saw Reed saying Officer Montina, it's Cedric, but no, Officer Montina. That's respect, right?
It's Cedric. It's
But
Cedric.
you have
It's always
someone.
Cedric.
I got you. But you have one of the main purpose, like I said earlier, you have a little boy out there or a little girl out there who said, you know what, I want to work for Homeland Security one day. I want to work for the FBI one day. And I
Yeah.
know this is one of the things you mentioned that could possibly be a route you over in your option to be in the FBI one day. But uh, this conversation, why I want everybody to share it, is simply because you sharing this may change somebody's life. Think about it. The young man literally just told you he was watching Bad Boys, and because of Bad Boys and some other shows he watched, now he has a successful career with Homeland Security. It's nuts. So make sure you like and share this video. So
That is
tell us,
nuts.
what is a day to day look like for you? Now I understand for different reason you may not. There are some stuff you probably won't be able to share, but to the best of
Yes.
your ability, tell us what is your day to day look like when you go to work. Some of the requirements, some of the things, the tasks you have to do to make sure we are safe
So
here. While you work in the border.
I'll say first is understanding the Homeland Security is a big umbrella,
Hmm.
and we have different um, departments, right? So you have, for a good example, is like ICE, right? Like, the whole spill on ICE and how the media views and how people feel about ICE. But that's just one department. And then you got Border Patrol. That's a different department. And then you have Custom Border Patrol Operation Field Office. That's another department. and they all have a different. Even though at the end of the day, it feels like at times it's the same job, but we have different titles. We have different job requirements, right?
Mhm.
So what I like to tell people, ICE deal completely with ICE is different to what I do. Border Patrol is also different, but I don't want to go like in big like details or whatever,
Mhm.
but I'll say this. So Border Patrol, for instance, because that's like the main one. It's the green. You got the green side and you got the blue side of the house, right?
Mhm.
So I'm blue. They're green. Border Patrol patrols the land. So desert area or deserted areas, you're gonna see Border Patrol agents out there patrolling, right? And then also sea. So let's say, for instance, I think it was a week and a half ago, there was a huge migrants of Haitians that landed in the sea, that landed in Miami, somewhere, coast of Miami, and they immediately uh, notified Border Patrol to come and process and secure these people, right? But that's just an example of what Border Patrol, like what their job entitled is, like what they do. Me, for instance, best way to explain what I do, if you leave the country when you're coming back in, you have to see customs, and that's where I come in. But we're bigger than Border Patrol, even though they run the relationship. But we're bigger because we're all over the United States, and we're also, I wouldn't say all over the world, but we are in some parts of the world too, right?
Mhm.
And basically, for me, you see customs and border protection in airports, seaports, land border, but it's a port of entry. So, say you were to come down to Arizona and you wanted to go visit Mexico, but you decided to walk or, you know, through your vehicle, when you're returning through the port of entry. And this is where I come in. Again, you left, you're coming back, you have to see customs. So within custom, we also have what we call the agriculture specialists, and they deal with various aspects of agriculture related issues that sometimes are we do get things that are prohibited from coming into the US, you could say, from fruits, plants, vegetables, seeds, all that kind of stuff, meat. So that's they handle that side of the spectrum. But me, I deal with immigration, and then we call it baggage or customs, meaning what might possibly be illegal that you're bringing into the US or that's prohibited from coming in. That's not agriculture related. So I like to say, for me, the job is in the southern border. This is where like airport is cool, because you kind of know there's already a manifest, so you already know how many people that are traveling to the U.S., right? And you kind of have an idea of what to expect. And let's say if for any reason um, we have to encounter someone with a prime example, like let's say with an active warrant or extraditable warrant, you already have all that in place when it comes to the airport. Seaport, you're dealing with vessels coming in, cargo shipments like cars from all over the world. So that's a different beast. But the real work starts and ends in the southern border because that connection where, and I mean like Texas, Arizona, and California,
Mhm.
right? Because Mexico's huge, and those three states, they are aligned with Mexico. So there's a lot of port of entries there, and also with Border Patrol, they patrol the land or mountains, over on that side too. But port of entry, you're getting people that goes in and out
Mhm.
of the U.S. constantly, every day, every day, every day, every day. So my job is to ensure whenever they come back in, they have a proper document stating that they are a United States citizen, and then from there, uh, what else that they are declaring. that we're bringing back from Mexico, and depends on, because we have rules and regulations, things that you can bring and cannot bring in, and depends on that. We kind of proceed with the inspection.
Mm.
So basically, it's like an inspection, really. But
Okay.
number one, I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Number one is always immigration, and there'll always be immigration, right? So, um, I'll say an example of that. Well, let's just put it this way. We all know Mexico and the drug industry, the narcotic industry. It's huge. It's big, right? So we deal with that too, you know.
Mm.
But I will also say, for the most part, a lot of people that go in and out, that goes in and out, for the most part, they're just people traveling in and out. And then if they live within the southern border area or the region, you're gonna see that constantly. You know what I mean? So we tend, or we do look for narcotics, especially where I'm at. That's like popular.
Mm.
It's a lot of that coming in. But I'll say the hardest part is you can't really target everybody. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But that's part of the job. So when we're done with immigration, the custom part comes in where, ensuring that, you know, we limit, the amount of narcotics that's coming into the US. And sometimes we confiscate a lot of narcotic, and like fentanyl pills is big right now too. So that's one of the main popular ones that people tend to abuse, you could say, a lot.
Mm.
And also, we deal with people heading to Mexico. So over there, we tend to seize money, firearms, ammunition, even vehicle at times, because it's a stolen vehicle that's gonna be used for whatever they want to use it for. You know what I mean? So that's like part of some of the main aspect of our job, you could
Mm.
say. So it's a lot, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And also, we deal with migrants, for instance, people coming in from different countries requesting asylum. And that's also big, 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 big over there. And you know what? People don't know. The assumption is that the people that are coming in are from Mexico. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they're the ones trying to invade the country, and then we see people from all over the world.
Coming from
I
the
still haven't seen
Mexican border.
requesting asylum. Yeah, I still haven't seen still haven't seen my people yet, but
Mm.
I've seen Russians, Cubans, Venezuelans. I mean, you name it, the whole world. I've
Is
come
coming
into
through
that
that border.
region, and I think what it is just like I said, Mexico's huge, and there's a route where if you make entry to Mexico, it just takes you north, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just go north, or no, it will start out west. So it'll start at southwest, and then it goes northwest, up, 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 up. Then you turn back east. So now you're northeast, and then you keep going, and next thing you know, bam,
You're
you're
out
in
of the border.
Nogales, Mexico. There's the big port of entry, and there's the United States. And some people, they travel, or the ones who have money, they tend to fly out
Mm-hmm.
and then come down and request asylum. So we deal with that too. So it's a lot going on, and you have to be able to multitask. It's not a it's I feel like we make it easy,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be tedious work. So it's
Mm.
not for everybody, because what we do also is they tend to be repetitive. So because you're pretty much doing the same thing on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a patrol police officer where they're patrolling the streets and then they might encounter different things, on a daily basis. With us, we know it always starts with immigration,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there we proceed, right? So it's fun. I think it's a lot of fun, and I think we do also open up doors for future avenues for, let's say, people who want to join the DEA, FBI, you know, But we're to me, we're number one because if it
Mm,
wasn't for us, then those big other agencies, like, they wouldn't have jobs because at the end of the day, they have to come to us sometimes uh, to verify, or yeah, to pretty much verify what's going on, or to even have consent to do different investigations.
mm.
So, but what we do is it's big, it's real big,
I
but
mean,
it goes unknown.
you mentioned quite a few things, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of highlight in immigration. Now, immigrate Homeland, like you said, is the umbrella, Homeland Security. Now, under that, there's different sectors. You
Yeah,
have ICE, you have everybody, right? So you mentioned,
USCIS. There is some I didn't even mention.
yeah.
So
So
yeah, go ahead.
what I want, I mean, if you're watching this, you're not an immigrant. You probably don't even understand. Maybe you was born in this country, or maybe you came here. You already had all your papers situated. Your parents sent to get you. When it comes to coming to this country, there's a reason people do that. And if anybody know who, if you know me, you know this country is a country I respect a lot, and I love this country. And I always say that it's not a perfect country, but it's better. So than many other countries. So when we were looking at the asylum seekers, my parents came here seeking for political asylum. So it is such a huge, huge opportunity when somebody actually receive the asylum granted by a judge, you know. And I remember going through the process. I remember I was at school. It takes me, I think, 9 years to actually
Wow.
get my papers, my green card. So when we come here, I want you to understand one thing. A lot of people that's coming here illegally, they don't know they're breaking the law. Like, I hope you
Yeah.
know that they don't know they're breaking the law, because when you were in a third world country, like a lot of people are coming to the Mexican border. I'm just taking the opportunity to say that when you're coming and trying to sneak in into this country, and I know you've been seeing a whole bunch of of people, like the news show you whatever they want to show you, but it's real out there. People are literally dying every day to get to this country. So the immigration aspect is huge, and because I went through that process, it is something that is very tedious. And just to get back to when I was in school, in high school, the lawyer would have to, tell my parents, hey, you got to go ahead and pick them up from school early because we got to go to court. And that happens so many times over the years. So it's a whole process. So a lot of people are not thankful enough for being in this country. And you're looking at Cedric, who is an immigrant. He came here, I think he said in 2000, 2002, I believe. And guess what? He's helping securing our borders, and bro, I know we go way back, but I can say, man, I'm so proud of you because there are a few young professionals that actually taking advantage of the American dreams, and to actually have some beautiful career. And before you know it, you may be the person that actually training those people who's the newcomers on your sector. But yeah, um, another question I had for you, and I know you mentioned there's different title. What is your title, and when it comes to your position, of course, and what is some of the ranks you're trying to accomplish doing your career over there?
Uh, so we do it a little different when it comes to the chain of command. You could say, like, normal police force, they will have regular officers. Like, let's just use like Orange County Sheriff's Office, right? They have their deputy, and then it goes from deputy to, I believe, a corporal to sergeant, sergeant, so on and so forth. With us, you have we're Customs and Border Protection officers. And then from there on, it goes to supervisor. And then you have a second line supervisor. Their title, that is chief. And then from chief to watch commander to assistant port director, and then port director. Like, that's just like how our chain of command is. It's just it's a little different, but
Okay.
that's just the way we do things, right? So, I mean, when it comes to me, yeah, I don't know, but we all know I'm not a stagnant person. So eventually, eventually, I'm gonna move up. Uh, Now, like I said, our agency is it's the number one. Well, not number one as far as like prestige or anything like that. As
Mm-hmm.
far as body wise, we're the number one law enforcement agency in the United States because we are all over the country and
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of us, right? So what that does, it tends to open opportunities for many other or different places, around the country and different things that we do that also go unnoticed. Um, so I don't know, it's a lot of things. Like for instance, I want to go to Canada and work in Canada for like a few years first before I go into management. I would love to go outside of the country and work. And there's a targeting agency or system that's put in place. I think it's in Washington, and I think it's pretty cool. Like I would love to do that. But you can also go to training and train the new guys coming in. But I think eventually I do want to move up and go into management and be
Okay,
a
well, no,
supervisor.
no, knowing you, that's. Listen, you're talking to a guy who would never settle. That's Seti. That's one of his character. I remember when he was actually in school in criminal justice. I remember when you told me you was going to move to Arizona. Remember you come to my house and we was having the conversation, and his mind was already made up. But me and
Oh
him, we
yeah,
go
you
way back, and I remember having this conversation, and he said, "Okay, this is what I'm thinking of doing." Like remember at that time, he started his family in Florida, has a beautiful baby girls growing up, and
too many.
he's like, "Okay, you gonna do this." Like you know what, James? So you going to move all the way to Phoenix, Arizona. You're
Yeah,
gonna leave your family here because you already purchased a home down in Deltona, I believe, and you actually gonna do this. Say, you know what? I feel like this is what's gonna be best for me. Any man or any person who can separate for the from their family and go pave the way to actually make it happen to now your wife is with you, you have your beautiful daughters, and by the way, um, I'm still waiting for you to have a son because you cannot have all these girls, man. You cannot have all these girls, but you take the initiative to actually do that. That's high respect. So I have no doubt you where you are right now. Maybe by the time you come back to to the show, you probably be wherever doing better things and greater things, man. No doubt.
yeah. Speaking on that, I mean, I remember everybody was calling me crazy. Like, what are you doing? I mean, because the jail was cool. I was having a blast, and like the trend when I was over there was like officers tend to do a few years, in the
Mm-hmm.
correction department, and then they transition to the road and become patrol officers or police officers, whatever. And like I said, bad boys too. And my dream, I just wanted to work for Orlando Police Department. That was the dream. Like I don't care what anybody told me. Like that was it. And for me to forget about, or not forget about, but to put that aside and move on to something that at that time thought would be even bigger than just Orlando Police Department. It takes a lot of courage, but it also goes back to SeaWorld and
Mm-hmm.
the people that, being around people. So in my mind, I was like, I can go anywhere and I'll be just fine, you know. But I think when you put all that together, it all comes back to, be willing to be uncomfortable. I think that's a powerful thing. And we have people that have aspirations and dreams and things that they can accomplish, but they, to me, tend to just be too comfortable within their own mind or area where they upbringing, whatever you want to call it, right? To the point where the dream tend to fade away and they never really accomplished it. And all of a sudden, they become a victim. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least that's the path that it tend to goes, right? But I believe, and I tell anybody, or especially high schoolers and people in college now too, whoever's watching, don't be afraid to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean? It's not like you leaving the US and you going to Haiti, because it's real. Like you just transitioning from one state to another, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that bad. And I'm saying that just in case, like if you do have a dream or a goal that you want to set, but maybe it wasn't meant to be in Orlando. You know what I mean? Maybe that dream is in California or Arizona or wherever. It's okay to be uncomfortable. You can always come back home and visit family and friends, and eventually you can always come back and live permanently back home. But it's okay to step out of your comfort zone, see a different side of life. Because I honestly, I think moving to Arizona is one of the best things that ever happened to me because I didn't know what was going on the other side of the world. And I love the West Coast, by the way. So Orlando, I don't know. I love the West
Oh
Coast,
my God. Does
man.
that mean we're not gonna have you back, man? Is that what you're saying? Because you know Orlando is still waiting for you to become an officer, man.
It's not gonna
It's
happen.
not gonna happen. You know what?
Nah.
You know what? I don't know if Solano is watching this, but I think Solano will
No,
feel that
shout
pain.
out.
Shout
Shout
out to
out to some.
Solano, right? I
Oh
hope he's
my.
watching this and
You gotta talk to this guy. How in the world he got into law enforcement?
I have
Ah,
no idea.
that's crazy, James. Oh, like talk about like a complete oh, yeah, yeah. I can't wait. That one's gonna be fun.
You know
I'm gonna
what?
watch that one
I'm
because
actually. I think I saw him in a get together we was having, and we mentioned that I want him to be on the show, because
yeah,
um, every time somebody, especially from Oak Ridge or somebody
yes,
in Orlando that been to Valencia,
yes,
if you know somebody who's doing great things, maybe make sure you tag him on that video or
yes,
her, because I want to know what's going on in the community. Because we want to bring everybody up to date on what's going on in your backyard. Because I
yes.
want to shine on things that are good and positive that's happening. Because it's so easy, Seti, to find the negative. All you gotta do is turn on the news, CNN,
Oh yeah,
Fox, MSNBC. I guarantee you, 98% of things that's going on there is negative, and the 2% is just commercial. I'm just,
exactly
it's,
right.
it's crazy,
Yes,
But
yes.
I hope I can get Solano on the show to actually interview him. But
And what people like. There's a reason why. Like it's kind of like it's like Haiti all over, right?
mhm,
Like people sometimes they tend to ask me because I have my little bracelet that I'm always around at work or whatever.
mhm.
Like, what's up with the pride or like why do you love like what do you love it so much? You haven't even been there in 20 years or whatever. So I'm like, I'll be back eventually. But I don't know. It's just knowing that where you came from
Mhm.
and to make something out of it when it's like the odds are against you. You know what I mean? Because you
Gotcha.
just Oak Ridge to me reminded me of Haiti in a way because we just we didn't have it like F school, right?
Mhm.
That was like Joe Ridge, remember? Like I remember playing when I was playing sports. I played baseball too, and I remember like it wasn't whether it was football, baseball, basketball. We were always Joe Ridge, and
Mhm.
people looked at our school like, oh, this is trash. They're using like old school TV, the old school projectors. I
Mhm.
mean everything
Mhm.
have changed now.
Yeah.
Like I'm jealous,
Me
but
too.
I remember I had to represent a rough Oak Ridge, man. And it's the same thing with Haiti, like, but yeah, where I'm going with that is, I get it, like that's on the outside, but on the inside, people just didn't know how much we loved our school and how much fun we used to have
Mhm.
and how laid back it used to be and all the pet rallies. Like it was a lot of fun, and it's the same with Haiti. Like once you kind of move away from the negatives, like I want to go back so bad, and it's just a matter of time. You know what I mean? And looking at the trees and the water and the food, the culture, the history, and that's big for me. Like, I'm always quick to talk about the history, and like I'll tell any other like black countries or whatever. You guys, yeah, if it wasn't for us, y'all wouldn't be where you at right now. Especially Jamaicans, they're always trying to compare themselves with us. I'm like, yeah, I get it. It's rough right now. We don't have it going on, and congratulations on your tourism, which is good, and it's no disrespect, but history wise, man, what we got, hey man,
Nobody
you
nobody
know,
has that for the
and I
rest
think
of
that
history.
pride. that pride, it kind of stick with me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm always challenging myself to be more, and I hate being uncomfortable, but it feels like I'm always like putting myself in situations where I'm uncomfortable, and I
Uncomfortable.
just want to see the outcome. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I think that's the reason why I believe eventually I'm gonna move up. It's just a matter of time, and
Which makes
we'll see
sense.
what happens.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned being uncomfortable, and that's the second or third time you actually mentioned that. In life, in general, people have to be uncomfortable. You know, when you don't know what to do, and you scared or you getting a little bit panicky, that mean you growing. And a lot of people don't want to put themselves in the situation. But you're such a great example that you actually moving with your whole family. I can't wait for you to come back to Florida now. Before we wrap this up, man, and I always ask this question: there's a little boy out there, a little girl out there that's watching this. If they decide to actually become part of Homeland Security, whether it's through immigration, whether it's border patrol or ICE or FBI,
You
don't
name it.
matter. What should they expect? Like, take a couple minutes. Tell us what should they expect through the journey to make it to where you are today.
So, uh, well, let me let's use a college, somebody in college now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially
Mm-hmm.
say criminal justice major.
Mm-hmm.
So, see the thing with our agency, like I said, because of the fact that we tend to hire from many different backgrounds. So the expectations can be a little different, but the it depends on what that individual wants to accomplish later
Mm-hmm.
on, right? So, but I do believe U.S. Customs or Border Patrol, they tend to open up many doors down the road, right? And like even ICE, you can't. I don't even. Yeah, they do hire general population, but they tend to pick people from within our agency
Mm-hmm.
to work for them because we're already accustomed with the system and stuff like computer system that we use and all that stuff, right? But let's say you're in high school heading to college and criminal justice is your thing and you want to work for the feds, right? And let's just say the FBI or DEA, which are prestige names, you know, let's just say it's not cutting it right away, right? I would say patience is key, and you know, having a little bit of, again, customer service slash criminal justice experience is also key. So military, for instance, that's important, or it actually it looks good on paper. Criminal just military service or majoring in, you can major in whatever, any law enforcement department they'll hire because it's the same process in a way. You know what I mean? So you can major in whatever. I mean, just make sure it's something that's useful that you can use later on down the road. Let's say if you move on to management team, right?
Mm.
But I think law enforcement experience, whether it's correction, um, the military, because they do have police. Was it police? Military police. They do have that. Correction, police, I think probation officer is considered too. Because I remember for me, what made the transition a lot easier was the fact that I had 2 years in correction, and when I was applying, there was a step that they wanted people with law enforcement experience, and if you had law enforcement experience, you you'll start off at a higher grade. You know, meaning you'll make a
Mm.
little more,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but I think law enforcement experience is key. Education is always good, you know, and what else? Just know now when it comes to the process, that's where patience comes in because it takes a while. It took me a year,
Mm-hmm.
11 months, I think, to finally get my congratulation letter or letter of notice that I had been hired and whatever. It took a year or it's close to that.
Close to
So
that.
the federal agency hiring process is long and it takes forever. So
Mm.
patience is very key. So if you already have law enforcement or whatever job, but if it's like very like you can tell it could be useful when it comes to coming into Homeland Security. So what I'll do is I'll definitely keep it, continue to gain that knowledge and experience, and then apply with, customs or whoever. But
Mm-hmm.
just know that the process takes a
Takes
long
a long
time.
time, so you
And
gotta
the polygraph, that's also another one that tend to knock people out or
candidates.
applicants out, candidates. All yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another one too. You have to or one have has to be mindful of is the polygraph
The
test
paragraph
and
test.
to
I remember when you
yeah,
was taking yours. It was you tell me about the experience. It's like, man, like, I guess
hated it.
whatever answer you're saying, you better tell the truth. Because if you
Yeah,
don't tell the truth, then that can really disqualify you. But
just yeah.
well,
It's
Seti, listen, man, it's a pleasure having you. I just noticed we've been here for like 50 minutes, and these show typically take 30 to 45 minutes, but I enjoyed this conversation. You bring so much value. Now, before we let you go, any last message to the viewers that's watching this?
you know what, James, you doing a good job. By the way, I just had a feeling that you talk about me. I feel like I should be the interviewer and interview you because you come up with so. I'll leave you alone. But anyway, um, as far as the viewers, I mean, if you, it doesn't matter. Like I want people to know that if you are willing to be uncomfortable and you have a goal or a dream, it's possible, and that's it. If whether it's school or education or whatever, if you're willing to be uncomfortable, there's a way, because just that right there is going to continue to push you to get to where you want to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just like working for the feds. Like I remember Sajid with his company, like that's dope, but he was willing to be uncomfortable, so it could be anything. We live in a world where I think people should try to appreciate and take advantage of what we have, because I've seen, just by working at the southern border, I've seen a different side of things where it's like we tend to take a lot for granted and we don't know. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
we just live so comfortably. But on the other side, it's not so good. It's other people who wish they were on our spot, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So, to everybody out there who do have a dream and goal, whatever they want to accomplish, just be willing to be uncomfortable and just don't stop. It doesn't matter if you go from Orlando to Arizona, Southern Arizona, you know, it doesn't matter. Just be uncomfortable and accomplish what you need to accomplish for yourself and your family and friends. You never know who you're gonna inspire, you know. So
That's true. That's
that's
really true. Well, I really appreciate the word of wisdom. And because you and I, we go so far back, I can appreciate, you saying that you should be interviewing me. And before I let everybody go, I was talking to Seti earlier, and he actually does the best he can to actually stay connected with the podcast, and there was some feedback he was giving me that I'm really going to take into consideration, because this is all about growth. So if you may have any question for Seti, you can actually put it on the comment below if you're watching on Facebook, and maybe if he has time, he can actually come and answer you. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the show today. I hope this was of value to you, and make sure you share this video, even whether you're on YouTube or you on Facebook. Make sure you share this video, because our people need to be exposed to conversation like this. With that being said, have a beautiful night, and God bless you, everybody. Bye bye.